organized by Government of India. And I'm delighted also that now we are also planning a World Food India from 3rd to 5th November in Delhi. मैम पहली बात तो मैं आपको ये रिक्वेस्ट करना चाह रहा था कि आपने अच्छा फैसला लिया कि वर्ल्ड फूड इंडिया ऑर्गेनाइज करना है और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट इंडिया को लाना है. मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूं कि मेक इट एन एनुअल इवेंट. द फर्स्ट इवेंट प्लीज होल्ड इट इन दिल्ली, इट्स द नेशनल कैपिटल. द सेकंड इवेंट वी वुड लाइक टू पिच एंड वी वुड लाइक टू मेक Hyderabad द डेस्टिनेशन. So if you can, and we will do everything in our capacity to make sure that it is better than Delhi, and it is done in a much better fashion as well. In fact, ma'am, you would also be surprised to know Hyderabad today is the number 2 city for all MICE events. Thank you. All the MICE events, meetings, incentives, conventions, and exhibitions. In fact, 2 large events are going to happen in Hyderabad in the next 6 months, where Honorable Prime Minister and also the heads of state of at least 5 to 6 nations would also be attending. That would include the World Congress IT, which we are doing in tandem with NASCOM. And then there is also the proposal of Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which is also likely to happen at the end of this year. So Hyderabad has everything to hold something like World Food India. And I will make sure that if you give us some lead time, I will make sure that we definitely outdo your first event. Being modest, but I will make sure that we do it. So ma'am, thank you for that. And secondly, ma'am, I also wanted to share with you a few things that we've done. We're delighted, we're thankful for all your support. With your support, we have 4 food parks sanctioned in our state. The one which we have already started working on, the TSIIC, the Telangana State Industrial Infrastructure Food Corporation owned food park in Khammam, in a place called Buggapadu. There are about 3 units which are already 3 anchor units which are under progress. And I will assure you that this will be up and running within the next 1 year. We have a fruit processing unit, we have a coconut processing unit, all of these coming up, and also a cold storage, a common affluent treatment plant, and a warehouse, and all the infrastructure that is required. This is already underway. We have also 3 other parks, 3 other private parks in the state, which have been approved, and one has been approved in January 2017. And we will also follow up with these private parties to push and to make sure that they also start working and start delivering on your idea and on your vision. I also wanted to highlight, ma'am, in fact, after the formation of the new state of Telangana in the last 3 years, since June 2nd, 2014, delightful news to share with you. Our grain production in our state, in fact, has quadrupled, has become 4 times what it was prior to 2014. This gives us a lot of relief, a lot of confidence, and a lot of impetus also to the food processing industry in our state. As our CII chapter president here has mentioned, Hyderabad is well known as a seed capital of India. We're also definitely right up there when it comes to poultry and meat processing as well. But our Chief Minister's vision is to take this further up. In fact, our Chief Minister's vision for agriculture and agro-based industries and food processing industries, he's quite ambitious and is quite elaborate as well. In fact, what we've been doing after the new state's formation is, as you know, ma'am, there are certain states in the world, like Minnesota in the United States, which calls itself land of 10,000 lakes. I was in Minnesota last year. I met with the governor there. I was telling him, and he said that we are the land of 10,000 lakes. I told him Telangana has 46,000 lakes. He was very surprised. But that is a fact. In fact, our 46,000 lakes, in fact, we've launched a very ambitious lake rejuvenation program called Mission Kakatiya. The reason why I mention this to you is because this lake rejuvenation program is not only going to help our farming community and our farmers, but it will also herald a blue revolution in the state of Telangana. In fact, I am delighted to share with you, ma'am, last year alone, the state government's fisheries department has supplied 27 crore fish seedlings all over the state across the various lakes and tanks that we have. And this year, we are increasing that number to 50 lakh seedlings, all supplied free of cost, and we are ensuring that some meat processing industry also would come up subsequent to this. The second thing we've also started working on, ma'am, is the overall irrigation aspect, the overall food production aspect, and ensuring that with an ambitious plan again of harnessing every single drop of water that trickles into Telangana or that Telangana rightfully has a share or allocated share of in River Krishna and Godavari, We have started with a very ambitious agenda of bringing 1 crore plus acres of land under cultivation, and these projects are going on at a furious pace, and I am very confident that under our Chief Minister's leadership, this dream would also be fulfilled, and this would bring not only great relief to our farmers, but also create many opportunities in the food processing sector. I'm also delighted to share a couple of other things with you, ma'am. In fact, post-harvest food processing has been a huge challenge in India, as we all know. In fact, in the state of Telangana, when we assumed office about 3 years ago, the total food storage capacity in terms of the godowns available was only 4 lakh metric tons, which was a shame. So therefore, when our Honorable Chief Minister took stock of the situation, he's asked us to increase it by 5 times. Today, with the support of NABARD, we've taken a loan of 1,042 crores, and we are increasing our installed capacity of our storage godowns to 21 lakh metric tons, half of which is already completed. In the next 1 year, you would see 21 lakh metric tons of storage space available in the state of Telangana. Not only Blue Revolution, but we also started focusing on White Revolution. We also started pushing our dairy farmers to supply more, not to the private sector, but also to the government dairy. We have a government-owned dairy called Vijaya Dairy. In fact, we've incentivized that from the state government side by way of giving an additional ₹4 per litre to the farmers, so that our state dairy also thrives and also the dairy farmers would benefit in a big way. Not only this, ma'am, in fact, we've also started leveraging technology, and we started using the ENAM, which has been promoted by Government of India in a big way. In fact, one of our districts, Nizamabad Mandi, which is where Kavita is a Member of Parliament from, has won the Best Mandi Award by the Honorable Prime Minister, and the total number of ENAMs in Telangana is about 44, which is one of the highest in the country. I'm also delighted to share with you. Ma'am, we also are planning a bunch of things. We are a landlocked state. So therefore, being a landlocked state and being a state which has high potential on irrigation, on food production, on grain production, on seeds, on poultry and on meat. In fact, I also would be remiss not to mention another very ambitious program of our Honorable Chief Minister. With almost 5,000 crores of rupees, we started a very, very ambitious sheep rearing program also, which in fact envisions supplying almost 8 million sheep to the 3.5 million Yadava population in our state. People talk about skill development, but we forget a lot of times about developed skill, which is an acquired skill, which is already inbuilt among our think force and our workforce. So therefore, we started the sheep rearing program as well, which I believe eventually will also give a great deal of impetus to the meat processing industry. We also have started working on logistics, because Hyderabad being the center of India, if you look at it geographically, I mean all of you in the room obviously belong to Hyderabad in the state of Telangana, so you don't need an introduction. But if a foreign investor was walking in, or if Mr. Perus Kambata wanted to set up a new plant in Telangana, which I'm pretty sure and confident that he will eventually, but if he wanted a logistically speaking, if he wanted to hit the center of India, and if you wanted to do that, and if you were blindfolded and were throwing a dart at the Indian map, unless you are a terrible shooter, you would hit Hyderabad 90% of the time. So Hyderabad has all the trappings. Hyderabad has all the trappings of becoming the logistics hub of this country. Keeping that in mind, because of our connectivity by road, by rail, by air, and keeping in fact also the fact in mind that Hyderabad is shielded by all natural forces. We are shielded from earthquakes because we are in one of the most stable zones, seismically speaking. We are also shielded from cyclones, typhoons, tsunamis and things like that. So logistically, we are very well connected to the rest of the country. We are shielded from all natural forces, so your service levels to your customers don't suffer. And we have fantastic weather conditions, in fact, which have resulted in an international institution such as ICRISAT. In fact, ICRISAT is a International Crop Research Institute in semi-arid tropics. Their world headquarters is in Hyderabad. The reason why their world headquarters is in Hyderabad is because of the varying soil types that we have available here in the state of Telangana. So therefore, with ICRISAT being here, with them working closely with the state government on innovations, on disruptions, and the farmers themselves being very adaptive. I was just telling ma'am before I walked in here that in terms of cotton production as well, we have the best cotton produced in the entire country, best quality of cotton produced in the entire country. That goes to show you that our farmers are adaptive. They are willing to adopt to change. They're willing to work with the industry on a buyback arrangement. They're also willing to learn the best practices from across the country as well. Keeping this in mind and keeping the future of Telangana in mind and food processing being a trust area for us, we also started building on the logistics side of it. We are building India's largest dry port in the state of Telangana because we are a landlocked state, and we are modeling it on Changsha. In fact, this is again going to be a very ambitious project, but we will also be receiving a lot of support from union government on this. We have already had preliminary discussions with Mr. Nitin Gadkari and his team, and we are delighted that they are also very supportive of this initiative. And ma'am, we also have other logistics parks planned along the side of our outer ring road, which is a 160-kilometer 8-lane expressway, which is one of its kind in the country. And we do hope and believe that the kind of opportunities Hyderabad has and the kind of land availability Hyderabad has, which is nearly 250,000 acres of land available at government's disposal, make it a very attractive destination, not just for food processing industries, but also packaging, but also logistics, and the kind of ambience we have here, and the kind of governance and progressive policies we have here also make it a very, very interesting destination. Now coming to the World Food India, as I have mentioned, as Peruz Kambata had mentioned, we have upgraded ourselves just now, in fact, from a focus state to a partner state. We'd be more than happy to make our presence felt in Delhi. We'll request the Honorable Chief Minister to come in to basically talk about the state of Telangana and the opportunities it presents. And we are also, in fact, Anuradha Prasad ji was making a request to the states to come out with a single window clearance system. Ma'am, we don't have a single window clearance system. We have something better. Let me just give you a quick spiel on what we have. We have what is called as TS iPass. TS iPass is a world-class policy which has been launched in June 2015. This policy basically imposes and reposes a lot of faith in investors. We allow for what is called as self-certification. So if you are an entrepreneur in the food processing industry, you have a piece of land, you can start your enterprise on day one. You can hit the ground running. You don't have to seek a clearance from the government at all. This is unheard of in Indian history. Any other state, any other government in India will not tell you this. Now the second thing we also do, ma'am, is by statute. In fact, this is the first piece of legislation we have enacted in our legislature here in the state of Telangana. We allow for what is called as deemed approvals. So I promise you all clearances for mega projects in 15 days. And if I don't deliver on the 15-day promise, on the 16th day, it's a deemed approval. And this is by statute. And no other state in India will also tell you this. And the third thing, ma'am, which you may not like, Anuradha ji, the third thing is, we also are very, very tough on accountability. So what we've done is, in fact, by statute again, by an act, we start levying penalties on our bureaucrats if they don't deliver on the promise. So we levy a fine of rupees 1,000 per day for any potential hurdles and potential roadblocks that may have been caused by our bureaucracy. So this kind of accountability, this kind of agility, this kind of speed is unheard of in Indian history. And this is not just a policy that looks pretty on a piece of paper. In fact, in the last 2 years after the launch of our policy, we've given clearances to more than 4,000 units. We've attracted more than 76,000 crores of rupees. And we've been able to create more than 2.5 lakh direct employment and at least twofold that in direct employment. So that is the kind of vision, that is the kind of policies which have resulted under our Honorable Chief Minister's leadership in Telangana getting the #1 slot on the ease of doing business across the 29 states in India. So you have a great partner state, I promise you that, and you'll also have a great host state should you give World Food India the second edition to us. And I promise you, we'll make all efforts to be a very good partner in the event in Delhi. And our food processing policy, in fact, if I would be remiss not to mention it, our food processing policy also, in fact, we have ITC doing a large park, almost 1,000 crore park here. And we, in fact, believe in meeting or beating the best offers you guys have. So any of you in this room wanting to invest anywhere in India, give me an opportunity to meet or beat the best offer you have so that I can either give you all the incentives or make sure to actually deliver on all the promises that I've just made. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I look forward to working closely with Union Minister and her team. Thanks.